The undefeated Colorado Buffaloes are the biggest story in college football, and at the center of it all is their inimitable head coach, Deion Sanders, aka Coach Prime. Seemingly, less than 12 months into his tenure in Colorado, the transcendent Sanders has transformed a humble Pac-12 program that went 1-11 last year into a burgeoning college football powerhouse. And this overhaul was done in decidedly Deion fashion, which is to say, he did it Deion's way. Let's take a look at how Coach Prime turned the Buffaloes into a behemoth and shook up college football. Sit back, relax, and take this in. The unprecedented glow-up of the Colorado Buffaloes, who were off to a 2-0 start, upset last year's national runner-up in their season opener and are currently ranked 18th in the nation after winning one game last year, is a reflection of how unprecedented Sanders is. Never before has a college coach had Sanders' combination of NFL credibility, celebrity, charisma, and cojones.
Show me you got cojones.
A combination that enabled Sanders to move to Colorado following a highly successful 3-year run at Jackson State and effectively bring the team with him. After Sanders announced his move to Colorado late last year, virtually every core player and highly touted Jackson State commit entered the transfer portal to follow him to Boulder, including quarterback Shedeur Sanders, Deion's youngest son, and Travis Hunter, the number 2 overall recruit in the 2022 class. But that was just the beginning. Sanders made it clear from the get-go that he was gonna clean house in Colorado following their 1-11 season, and he wasn't kidding. All in all, Sanders lured a whopping 86 new players to Colorado, leveraging the NCAA's newly relaxed transfer rules like no coach had before. Until very recently, of course, players who transferred had to sit out for a year, but the NCAA lifted that rule in 2021, making transfers immediately eligible to play. And Sanders capitalized on that rule, effectively rebuilding Colorado's entire roster over the course of one offseason, largely through incoming transfers. In fact, only 10 scholarship players from last year's roster remain. According to ESPN Stats and Info, Sanders' roster makeover represents the largest influx of new players to an FBS roster since the transfer portal was introduced in 2018. Like I said, it was unprecedented, and this potentially paradigm-shifting move stirred up quite a bit of consternation within college football. Some folks, like Pitt head coach Pat Narduzzi, were downright blunt about it being bad for the game. As he told USA Today, "That's not the way it's meant to be. That's not what the rule intended to be. It was not to overhaul your roster. We'll see how it works out, but that to me looks bad on college football coaches across the country." In response, though, Coach Prime essentially said, "Don't hate the player, hate the game." And now, thanks to his aggressiveness in rebuilding Colorado's roster and his effectiveness as a head coach, Sanders has the Buffaloes off to a 2-0 start and has made them the most talked about college football team in the country. What other coach, after all, would be bold enough to have his best player almost never leave the field? Because that's what Coach Prime does with Hunter, a cornerback and wide receiver who played 152 snaps in Colorado's season-opening upset over TCU, then played 126 snaps in the Buffalo's commanding Week 2 victory over Nebraska. That's the kind of gambit that could only come from primetime. A uniquely bold individual who played on both sides of the ball himself back in the day, memorably starring on Dallas's offense and defense in 1996. And that's just one of the countless examples of how Coach Prime marches to the beat of his own drum. Another one? Sanders doesn't believe in naming captains on offense and defense. Instead, Sanders affixes L's and D's to the jerseys of his standout players. L's for leaders, D's for dogs.
What up, dog?
Oh yeah, and Sanders slept in his office overlooking Folsom Field the night before the Buffalo's home opener. He said he wanted to wake up and watch the stadium transform from empty to jam-packed, which it was, and it'll be like that for the rest of the season. Colorado, in fact, was the first school in the nation to sell out of season tickets for the 2023-2024 campaign. And while some may be tempted to write off Sanders' shtick as attention-seeking or self-aggrandizing, Coach Prime can back it up. All he does is win.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what.
He went 27-6 at Jackson State, and his 2-0 Buffaloes are currently ahead of powerhouses like Oklahoma and UCLA in the AP Top 25. And in fueling this incredible turnaround in Colorado, Sanders may well end up changing the very landscape of college football. Not only has his experiment unveiled the incredible, previously untapped potential of the transfer portal, but Sanders' success could also dramatically change the profile of college coaches. For decades, college coaches have been overwhelmingly stodgy old play callers a la Nick Saban of Alabama. In opting for the complete opposite in Sanders, Colorado has both improved dramatically on the field and attained a previously unimaginable level of national attention. And while there's only one Coach Prime, the success he's brought through his combination of experience, celebrity, and personality could be a new model for college coaches moving forward. Sanders is showing that one need not have extensive experience as an offensive or defensive coordinator in order to be an impactful, successful head coach. And his reshaping of Colorado football could well open the door for more non-traditional head coaching candidates, especially those with sufficient pull, like Sanders, to attract as much elite talent as possible. Still, no matter what long-term impact his running Colorado has on college football, Sanders and the Buffaloes are undeniably the NCAA's most compelling story right now. And if their season keeps going like it has, Coach Prime may need to create some space on his ridiculously crowded mantle for a national championship trophy.